Why, hello there. Greetings, everyone. It is January 1st, 2020, which is awesome because we're in a new year. New year, new me! Which everybody says, which is good because then I get to do a couple of things that I kind of been sitting on for the past couple of weeks. Thinking about it, I had one video that I really wanted to do, which I will probably end up doing next week. But this one kind of has to take precedence because I think it's a very important message to discuss. It's a very important message that we need to talk about, and it's one that I feel has been really deep in my mind. And the sad part is I never really got to actually discuss it because I think that I feel crazy in discussing it in the first place. Because when you talk about diversity in Disney vlogging, I think that's kind of the most important piece, is diversity, and not just YouTube, but diversity and specifically Disney vlogging. And that's really what I like to talk about today. If anybody is really familiar with Twitter, there was a really big thing that happened over the previous weekend. There was a podcast that was made, but it was labeled The Muses, which is fine in and of itself. However, the big thing is that the Muses were a group in Hercules. So, the group in Hercules is an all-black singing group, the Muses from Hercules. Then you have a podcast that's all white women. Again, I get it. I 100% get it. In fact, I fully support it. However, when we discuss it and you look at, hey, you know what? This is a group that was all black women, and you're taking that title and you're moving it to white women, I think that also opened the door to, hey, where's the diversity? The tweet in question refers saying that the Disney fandom, or the Disney fandom, or Disney Twitter fandom, or Disney vlogging or blogging is as diverse as Disney management. And that's a really weird thing to say. In fact, it was such a very pointed thing to say, and it may have just been a throwaway thing to have been said, but the sad part is he's right. It's crazy to think about how from one message, even though it kind of hurt a bit, and for me it hurt because, you know, vlogging since 2017 and starting in the theme parks and in doing my best in the theme parks and in being able to bring like as much entertainment as I can in the theme parks, being a black man covering theme parks, for me, it always felt like there was a bit of a handicap. And as much as people don't think that that's completely true, I feel like there's a bit of a handicap when it comes to African Americans, when it comes to people of color, and vlogging, or at least in this community. I'm just going to use black people from this point on. There's a lot of great vloggers that everybody should check out. I'm going to list a whole bunch here, and that's an entire array of people of color. But specifically, black people have it the worst. Because from what that tweet read to me is that, one, a black vlogger isn't taken as seriously as the white vloggers. Which, man, I think saying it out loud, if it makes sense to me. It doesn't make sense to the masses. I know if you're watching, it may not make sense to you. You may even say, I don't really relate to this. I don't want to think that I'm crazy in my thought process here. I love going to Disney. I love doing content at the parks. I love being able to bring funny to you at the parks. And if I can try to be informative, I can. But the thing that works against me is if you relate to me. And that's the difficult part. I try to do as much studying as possible as far as this, and it has to be, in some ways, where can I relate? Where can I see myself in relating to those who are watching my content? Or in that case, if I am feeling this way, if I'm feeling that that is a handicap, then I need to know a little bit more on why that is. So I know there's going to be a lot of statistical data that I can look over. There's a lot of statistics that you can probably break down. I don't have that type of time. If anybody has any sort of numbers and reference points, link them in the comments below. I'll love to read your thoughts, and I'll love to see what data and findings you can find. That's what makes us us. That's what makes this whole conversation. But from one study that I found in 2018, literally, I guess you can say 2 years ago, but I like to still think it's like last year. Let's think of it last year. But one of the big things that you can really take a look at is 80% of the people who go to Walt Disney World, and specifically Walt Disney World, is predominantly white. It's a predominantly white vacation destination. And it kind of goes back to one thing that I had always been saying, like especially with my upbringing. I came into the Disneyland and the Walt Disney World at a very late point in my life. I didn't really start going to Walt Disney World well until I was maybe 8, 9, and then we wouldn't go again for another 5 years. Then wouldn't go again for another 5 years after that. And then eventually I had the choice of, hey, I should go to Walt Disney World. But it was never something that we actively did. We took trips, but it was never Walt Disney World. It was never one of those things that we wanted to do. And again, we didn't have a whole lot of money, so spending money at Walt Disney World on these trips just wasn't something that our family wanted to do. But that's just my family. But it can also be a lot of different families too, not just me. The big thing about this graph is how little blacks take up of that majority. And that's about a good 10% of blacks that go to Walt Disney World. So that's a okay and sizable number, but the representation of just 10%? 10% of black people go to Walt Disney World. And when you look at the graph just a little bit more, you can see that American Indian is on there. They kind of is a little bit less than that, as well as Asians and other race. Using black vloggers specifically, I asked a question recently on Twitter on who, give me a link to your favorite person of color vlogger. I want to know who you guys are watching. I want to know what is being watched out there. I know the answer. I just want to know if you guys are watching anyone else that isn't the 5 that I had already thought about. The 5 current vloggers that do Disney, and I'll shout them out so that way you guys can go and check them out as well. You have Prince Charming Dev, doing really awesome, and he's blowing up. He's doing amazing, and his numbers keep climbing. In fact, he's probably the highest subbed black vlogger that is right now. The only one. Then you have Diz Life of Ours. Then you have Marcus Q. Then you have Princess and the Bear. And then there's me. That's 5. That's 5 people that I know off the top of my head that are doing Disney vloggers. Now, mathematically, let's break it down. If there's only 10% African Americans coming into the park to visit Walt Disney World, out of that 10%, knowing that there's only 5 theme park vloggers, and that's Marcus Q, Dev, Diz Life of Ours, me, and Princess and the Bear that's going regularly to Walt Disney World to make content, that means we represent 0.5% of that 10%. that are going to the theme parks. It's a very, very unrepresented community. So when it comes to diversity, we're kind of out on our own. Now that doesn't discount the other folks that are making content that are person of color, that aren't black. You still got folks like Vincent Vision and Theme Park Express and Super Enthuse. Knowing that, it's kind of an uphill battle. It's still an uphill battle of having people see black creators and be accepting of black creators, and in watching black creators. I want to see, and I've probably said this a lot of different times, but I would love to see more black creators coming out and doing more content. If you got to do Disney World, fine, be a Disney vlogger. I don't mind, but I love to see other black vloggers out there doing the thing, getting a camera, making the content, having a good time. That's really all. That's what it's about, is that everybody can touch upon something. I want to see black vloggers succeed, and I want to see black creators succeed, and I definitely want to see like black Disney vloggers succeed in an environment that is not predominantly us. I like that. I want that future. I want to see that happen. And the sad part is that that conversation doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often, and that's the part, and that's the reason why I'm doing this video. I love the fact that people came out and talked about how much diversity is needed and how much we really need diversity. But we can't have diversity if nobody's lifting a finger to do it. You can talk about it all day, but if nobody's going to do anything about it, then it's a moot point. So when we talk about, hey, I also want diversity, then it's up to you to make sure that you support that black vlogger. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be me. I'm not asking it to be me, but I think it's very important to do our duty to make sure that we not only like help support black vloggers, but we also help motivate the next generation of black vloggers who are doing the thing. One of the big things that I do see that I love is on Instagram. I like to, there is a huge boom of black and people of color. Victoria out there doing the thing on Instagram. She's having a podcast. She does Instagram. Afros and Pixie Dust is also a good one that people can follow, who she reshares a lot of black influencers that goes Disney, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on, and it's beautiful, but it's only beautiful if more people are aware that they're doing it. It shouldn't have to be me talking about it on a video, but I do it because I feel like it's a very important thing to talk about, and it's a very important thing that everyone should talk about. And when we put our heads in the sand and then we let people allow ignorance, it's not racism. We haven't really got to the racism part because I don't think it exists in this community. I don't think anybody is racist here. But I also want folks to feel included. I want folks to feel that they are a part of something. And I think one of the biggest things is that when you're a black Disney vlogger who is only 0.5% of this population that goes to Disney World, you don't feel a part of something. You feel against it. And it's very difficult to swim up that stream a lot of the times. And you want to break out and you can't, because you got support, but mathematically, is the support there? I mean, it's a big thing about having people relate to you, and that's a big thing. And I want people to relate to me because I'm funny, and that I am witty, and I make you think, and I bring on very intelligent discussions like I'm doing now. I want you to relate that way. But don't feel that you can't relate to me because of my skin color. And that's the difficult part. That you can't relate to me because I don't really relate to a black guy at Disney. Or I really don't relate to Sean's channel being Sean Rosales and Negro Orlando. That shouldn't have to be a thing. Relate to me because you like me, and you like my channel, and you like what I do. Or you relate to Dev because you like what he does. Or you relate to Princess and a Bear because you relate to a vegan lifestyle and healthy lifestyle. Or you relate to Diz Life of Ours, who loves going to the parks and having just a great time with them and their family, and the cosplays and the Disney bounding. There's so many ways that us creators can go out and relate to you. But it makes it difficult if you don't relate to us because of our skin color and you don't give us the chance. And that's kind of the big piece with why I decided to talk about it. I really think the idea of diversity in this community is a conversation that we all needed to talk about. Not just on Twitter. I just feel like it's something that has been on my mind, and it's something that is important to me. And I don't feel like it's a crazy thought anymore. You know, I don't feel like I'm going crazy because people don't want to see a black vlogger. I think people do want to see a black vlogger. But I also think that people are still trying to find who they relate to. So it's just those thoughts that I felt that we can have a discussion about. So if you watch this extremely long video, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. Smash that subscribe button, baby, because I got a lot of talking points that I kind of want to do. There's been a lot of introspection when I took that break. And I know it's kind of a moment that there was no videos, and maybe a drop of here and there of some random things I'll do, which is fine because I'll probably continue doing random stuff. But there was a lot of introspection. And I'll probably talk about that here in the next couple of weeks because I still got my anniversary episode that's coming up January 21st. So I definitely want to talk more about that and just kind of where my mind is with content creating. So bear with me. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys listening to me and listening to me rant and ramble. And hopefully you guys feel the same way. If you guys have any questions, if you guys have any thoughts about way of Disney diversity, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about it. I want to hear what you guys think, and I'll respond. If I don't respond, I'll heart the comment because maybe you said something that I already agree with. But that's it. Thank you guys so much. Smash that subscribe button. I'm out.